just like a song, and brighten my day. Who'd have believed that you were part of the dream? Now it all seems like years away. You know I can't smile without you. I can't smile without you. I can't laugh, I can't sing. I'm finding it hard to do anything, and I feel sad when you're sad. I feel glad when you're glad. If you only knew what I'm going through, I just can't smile without you.
What is happening, people? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for joining me today. Here's your preview: PSG versus Tottenham in the Champions League. We all know how that Super Cup went, so putting that right. And this feels like a free hit for Tottenham, so it could be a very tough game. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Apologies that this preview is getting actually very, very late. We've had a lot of content go out on the channel, which I'm sure you would have seen, and I've been busy with work and college, so do apologise. Thank you as always for your patience and incredible unwavering support. It does mean a lot. Let's get straight into it. So PSG, like I said, free hit. You know, it's going to be tough, no doubt about it. I think Frank will be judged more in terms of his future and trajectory and how he's getting on at the moment in games like Fulham and then Newcastle, two Premier League games which are tougher. Newcastle could be in and around us very shortly, and Fulham, it's a game we expect to win. Fulham are poor away from home. We struggle at home, so that'll be a big test. But again, we should be winning. So I think this is a free hit. I don't think Frank's kind of reign or how long he's going to be here is defined by this game. But make no mistake about it, if Tottenham somehow miraculously, let's say even, win this game, then the conversation shifts ever so slightly with Frank because it's a significant result. We nearly got that at the Super Cup where he played about 3 back 5, didn't he? So interesting to see what he does in this game. So without further ado, let's get straight into the big talk with lineups. On screen, you can see there, that would be my lineup. If I was Thomas Frank, if I had the privilege, and it would be a real privilege to be Tom Watson manager, I'd start Vicario in goal, Porro right back, Udogie left back, Rera and Van der Ven as the centre backs. I'd put Borgval and Paulinho in midfield with Xavi Simons sitting just in front of them, Kudus on right wing, Odegaard on left wing, and Richarlison up top. My thinking then, goalkeeper picks himself in Vicario. I think they are our best fullbacks in Porro and Udogie. I get them more offensive than defensive, and that is a risk. But at the same time, this Tottenham team under Thomas Frank have not taken enough risks and have paid the price for it. Let's be bold. We've got nothing to lose. It is a free hit. Let's be adventurous, and these two fullbacks are a lot better because let's be clear, they were fullbacks more than they were kind of right wing back and left wing back before joining Tottenham, rather than like a right back or left back in a back four. They're more used to a back five. Doggy for Udinese, and of course Porro as well for Sporting Lisbon. So that's my thinking behind it. Centre backs pick themselves. Romero, again, is no doubt that he plays. It's a big game, and also suspended at the weekend stupidly for dissent he got against Arsenal. So picked up 5 yellow cards and misses the game against Fulham. Still annoyed with him about that. He should be fined, I think, for that. But we won't worry about the negatives because we want to look optimistic before it comes crashing back down realistically after the game. Hopefully I'm wrong. But the midfield I'll go with is João Palhinha. I think is very key. We saw that one time that we pressed and he won the ball back against Arsenal. There's that wonderful Richarlison goal. I think Bergvall is very key because against Arsenal we just lacked that player to play the pass, to create a chance. And our only real creative players are Bergvall and Xavi Simons, and they just neither of them in the team against Arsenal. And that's the whole thing. You can sit back and shut up shop, but you need to have a plan to counter, to get out, to relieve the pressure. And ultimately, if you're going to concede, you need a plan to try and score, or at least have a small chance of scoring. And Tottenham against Arsenal relied just on a mistake or set piece or a wonder goal. One of those three, and it was a wonder goal. That you're not going to get it. If we play Arsenal again, it's probably not going to happen. That situation, Arsenal won't make the same mistake. Richarlison probably won't score. Again, he'll probably put it just over realistically. So that's the point, and I think Bergvall is very key. I think in that too with Paulinho. I don't want them too deep, but I'd scrap the idea of a 6 and just have 2 kind of 8s, and then Xavi Simons just behind. They can be deep, it's fine, but I think Bergvall could be good sitting back and creating. I prefer him there than Frank Sturridge playing before on the left-hand side or in the 10. I prefer Bergvall in that kind of 8 where he will be playing. I think they can play side by side as kind of 2 8s or 2 6s. I prefer them to be 2 8s. Xavi Simons in front. I think still got room for improvement, but on this kind of, European stage, I think could really suit him. So looking forward to seeing him hopefully in that 10 role. Kudus on the right, I like him. Start the season a lot better than he is now, but ultimately he's not getting the service, and the attack around him, the team around him are struggling. There's no secret about that. But we need more from him. Kudus at West Ham was criticised for not stepping up when they needed him, and will go missing when the team's struggling. Would only play well when the team are doing good. That was the criticism of him from West Ham fans, which was fair at the time. Odd on the left-hand side, quiet against Arsenal, but so was everyone. Could be a big game for him. And make no mistake about it, down that left-hand side, Udogie and Odebear, very key when they both come on at half-time against Man United, because Frank got it wrong in that first half. So starting both of them could be the right thing to do. Then Richarlison up top. I like Moani. I think it's a very, very valid and big calls for him to start. And I like Moani. I think overall Moani's got more to give than Richarlison. But Richarlison, as we know, is a confidence player. He got that screamer against Arsenal. Literally probably the only positive you can take, if any at all, out of the North London derby. So I think confidence players like Richarlison just playing when he's scoring, keep playing and keep playing and keep playing. And when he's not, you take him out of the team. It's as simple as that. Richarlison could want to prove a point and build on that goal, you hope, after scoring that, and be confident running through his veins. That's my thinking behind it. So that would be my lineup in a 4-4-1-1 formation. What would your lineup be compared to mine? Next, then, we move on to predicting Thomas Frank, which is always difficult. A lot harder that Frank is to predict than Ange Postecoglou was. I think he'd play very similar. I think it'd be, of course, probably more like a 4-2-3-1, but we'll keep it simple and say 4-4-1-1. I think Frank would do the same as what I would do. Not just coincidence, then Vicario in goal, Porro, Udogie, Van der Ven, and Romero. I think he'll also keep, of course, Kudus on the right wing. I think he'll start Xavi, but a left wing, because I think he'll keep that double pivot of Bentancur and Paulinho, which worked well in the Super Cup and has worked well in big games. And I've called for them double pivot to be scrapped in smaller games, but games like this, away from home, or games against Big Six or equivalent in Europe, which ticks both these boxes, top team and away from home and in the Champions League, all three really, then he's right to play him. I get that, but I just think we need to take a risk, handbrake off, and plus Bentancur for me, he's not playing as good as he can do. I think he's a lot better, previously before he got injured, for example, and a different managers where he's more attacking and more forward thinking. He's been turned by Anjam because of injuries into a more safe kind of non-risk taking midfielder, which doesn't suit us at all in this game. So I think Paulinho can do it on his own. So both do a very similar job and get in the way. So I think Frank will go for that, though. And I think he'll go with, the only difference is, I think Frank will make one change to what I would do. I think Frank will opt for Sarr because of the energy, box-to-box midfielder, not the worst idea at all. I think Frank will go with Sarr, but I'd go with Bergvall. That's the difference. So, yeah, Xavi Simons playing in a different position. I think you have, Sarr kind of in that different position. Of course, I've said that, Bentancur getting there too. So there is a few changes. So that is what I think Frank will go with. And just a reminder, that's what I would go with. So two changes, actually. So I'd go with Bergvall and Odebear, and I think Frank will go with Sarr and Bentancur. That's the difference. But he's the Tottenham manager for a reason. I still fully back him. Not 100% because of why I've been playing, but I'm behind him, no doubt. And that is, rigid for now and it isn't changing. I think changing managers at Tottenham is only going to hurt us. We need to back someone, get behind them, give them time to turn it around because, for example, against Arsenal, that proved that there's just levels in quality and trajectory between both clubs. That's not the problem with Frank. Combined 11 then, this was extremely tough, if I'm honest with you. Really, really tough. So this is my PSG and Tottenham combined 11. I'm sure there's bias in here, I'm going to be honest with you. I've tried not to be. This is the combined 11, which does not include injured or suspended players. So Vicario in goal, tough one for me, 50-50. Porro at right back, Nuno Mendes at PSG at left back, and then a Tottenham centre-back partnership of Romero and Van der Ven. Midfield, they're more PSG dominated. They are huge in midfield. Juan Neves and Vitinha, absolute no-brainers. And João Paulinho I have squeezed in there. I think he's been instrumental for Tottenham. I've got Xavi Simons on the left, Barcola of PSG on the right, and PSG's Gonzalo Ramos up top. So in terms of Tottenham players in that combined 11, then there is a few, which I'm talking about, but I tried not to be, but I don't watch enough PSG to, say, oh, God, this is definitely right at all. So Tottenham players, you've got, just in that back line, you've got 4 out of 5. You've got 1 midfield 5. So you've got 6 Tottenham players and 4 PSG. I'm sure they'll be unpopular. But it's different when everyone is available. There's a couple of changes I make to that. So with everyone available, the 2 changes would be Hakimi coming in for Pedro Porro because Hakimi's injured, and Desiree Doucouré coming in for Xavi Simons, which then flips it on its head and means 6 PSG players and 4 Tottenham players. So I did try and be fair, but the reality is PSG are levels above Tottenham, and Tottenham has some really good players. That's why I've included, some really good players. We have 2 or 3 that are just another level in terms of Romero, Van der Ven is what I'm thinking, João Paulinho. Vicario for me is, I don't know too much about PSG goalkeeper since I lost Donnarumma. I think he's done okay. He's a Frenchman, isn't he? Of course, playing for a French team in PSG. So yeah, please enlighten me. Please inform me rather, anyone that watches more French football than I do. But PSG are a great side, and they've got better. They've got like players with a higher ceiling and a higher, like, big names is the way of putting it. Vitinha, but in particular Barcola, Gonzalo Ramos, Nuno Mendes, all these type of players. Whereas Tottenham have a few good players, but no world-class players. I don't think with PSG that is a little bit different. Score prediction then, if we can go there and get a draw, I think we will set up to shut up shop. And I don't mind if Frank wants to continue the back five, wants to shut up shop again, but we've got to find a way out because no defensive plan works. No shut up shop plan works if you have no plan to counter-attack. Because going there and getting a 0-0 draw at Arsenal or against PSG, there's no shame in that. But what was the realistic option of us going to score? And you can say set pieces is a big thing. It's your edge over an opponent, but we needed a valid option. And we need to suck all the creativity out of the team. There's no ever going to be a likely source of Tottenham scoring. It only happened from Richarlison wonder goal. Raya was so bored in goal with nothing to do. He come off his line and, it was poor on his part and great from Richarlison. Take nothing away from that goal. So look at Sean Dyche against Liverpool, for example. Sit back. But they counter and they're clinical, whereas Tottenham aren't clinical. They don't even create that chance in the first place. It's about being a bit bolder on the counter-attack. When we get the ball, run, go, quick. Whereas you're not, and we just look void of ideas and suffer and crumble under pressure. It's not a Frank problem. It's a Tottenham problem for me. But score prediction, I'm going with 3-1 PSG. I think Gonzalo Ramos will score a hat-trick, second player to score a hat-trick against Tottenham in a week. Just feels right, and it feels like it's going to happen. I think Richarlison will score. I think he will start and score, and I actually think that PSG will take the lead, and Tottenham will pin PSG back 1-1, but I think PSG will run away with it. Maybe a goal to half-time, then a third goal late on. So I think Tottenham will be in the game until the end, but lose it 3-1, and I think not a disastrous performance. It's a free hit for Frank, but still, it's serious. We want to try and get a point is the aim. Every game, is possible to win. It's possible to get a result that you want because it's a 90-based business. But also we need to realise that PSG and Tottenham has a huge gap in class, in trajectory and level, and where they're going to probably end up in the Champions League if something goes wrong. So if we can get a point, I'll be very, very happy. I don't think we get it. Get your score predictions in the comments below. But that's your match preview again. Apologies about the lateness. If you're new, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. And a massive come on you Spurs under the lights in the Champions League. It's always great. And we have a great privilege as well to play teams like PSG. But, we're not just in the Champions League to participate. We should be in it to win it. Not realistic, but that's the whole point. So come on you Spurs. I think we do well in the Champions League. We're going to have to bite our teeth and, hopefully not crumble under pressure tonight. Up the Spurs.
Just like a song.